Wow, it is Monday again.
Oh my goodness, it keeps coming around, and it's Thanksgiving week already. November 25th, almost time to say goodbye to 2024. Episode 13.
Well, okay, 13 of this particular Cinemaniacs thing.
Well, you're the one that pushed for a rebrand.
I thought you did that.
No, that was all you. I reluctantly agreed.
All right. I think you're gaslighting me, but okay, it's my idea.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Cinemaniacs, powered by EriDan. Tonight, we're talking about what some people consider the greatest movie ever made.
This is officially the episode where we jump the shark.
I think we might have jumped the shark.
I think it's finally happened where we are now a stereotypical movie review show.
Yes. If you'd like to join us to discuss this movie, Citizen Kane,
and disgust would be the right word.
You can go to EriDanLive.com. EriDanLive.com.
EriDanLive.com to join in the fun, or you can hang out in the comments.
Or you can leave right now.
Some people in the comments.
You can leave right now and go to the comedy special if you really want to.
You could do that.
Be back in 38 minutes.
Do that now.
All right.
It's a terrible idea. Watch this first and then go watch the comedy special.
All right.
So are you still, I got to ask, are you still using the Elgato camera, or have you switched back to your DSLR?
This is my built-in Mac.
Oh, that's your Mac? Wow. I had no idea. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I use my DSLR when I'm at my other office.
The
Elgato is in my
multiple locations. The other studio. I see.
The actual studio. This is the spare bedroom because I just came back from.
Fair enough.
Hang out with my son.
Well, you should be hanging out with the fam. That's great. That's a Thanksgiving things to do. Not hang out with people.
Adam right off the bat. Die was definitely not the best movie of all time.
All right, now let's be clear before we jump into this episode. Let's be clear that everybody has an opinion, and that's all that is everybody's opinion. So when there are some disagreements tonight, nobody has the say about whether something is the greatest or something is the worst. We're going to be respectful of each other's opinions. We're going to listen to everybody and what they have to say, except for Scott.
Well, that's just your opinion, Eric.
Well, okay, that's why I said some people say this is the greatest movie of all time. I didn't say it is. I think some people some surveys.
Are they right? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it all depends on how you measure the word great, right? I mean, I think if you were an auteur in America,
you have to look up auteur.
Are you saying I'm not?
Do you make movies?
In my opinion. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, fair enough. There's this old school idea of the auteur, the director, as like a big storyteller and a lifestyle. I would say that most auteurs in America would point to this movie as like the beginning of their movement. Yeah. Like that's really the key thing here, which is why people pick that movie.
Well, this is, and we'll get to this. We bring Scott in, of course, first because Scott chose the movie. And thank you for being here, Scott, and thank you for choosing the movie.
Yeah, of course.
And I think there is a difference between maybe the most influential movie of all time, maybe the most revered movie at the time, or the most movie that had the most.
Totally. Like I would say,
the direction of the entire movie industry is completely.
I think that's key.
Than saying whether this is the greatest movie of all time is not taking away from the impact that this movie had. Right?
Completely. And at the beginning of a new era of film where you had finally people who were starting to respect this medium. I mean, think of this as like the Super Mario 64 of movies. Like before this, you had, Atari, it was 8-bit, everything looked like E.T. And then all of a sudden you have this 3D free roaming world where everything looks so freaking real. And and if you look at video games today,
I was going to say, that is actually a better analogy than the one that I had.
Wow.
Exactly.
I was going to refer to this as the Microsoft Zune of movies.
The Commodore 64.
Somebody came around and did it better than the Zune, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't influential and very didn't have its place in history.
Precisely.
Well, the biggest thing about this movie that I love is the interview with Orson Welles when he talks about the fact that he had no idea what he was doing.
Right.
100%. He was a first-time director. No one could tell him he was doing it wrong because he didn't know what he was doing, and therefore things happened that should not have happened in a normal film because people weren't telling him, "Oh no, you can't do that."
That is the ultimate definition of privilege. He's rich. He has a lot of knowledge. People want to help him because he's rich. And you never made a picture before, and you're really influential. You met Chamberlain. You met Hitler. Let's give this guy a movie, even though he's 26. And you know what? I would say this much in the grand scheme of how bad and how good movies could be for its period, considering everything else that was coming out at the time. This is not a terrible movie. This is not even an average movie. I would say it's definitely a solid, great film for that period. And the movement that it started, you cannot deny, ultimately.
Right. And Dave shared, speaking of Dave, we can bring Dave in and Brian. Dave shared.
Hello, guys.
You're not bringing in Amanda. I noticed you're not bringing in Amanda. That's just rude.
I couldn't see her. Hold on, there she is. I'm so sorry. I had to scroll up. You're not on there.
Wow.
Way to snub the guest.
Just because. Here we go. Hold on. There we go.
There we go.
What is happening?
Okay, bye, Dad.
All right, now
I even got rid of myself. Okay, Dave was stuck in the.
Wow.
Or
that's an homage to Vertigo, which is number 2 on the survey.
Right.
Or number 1 if you're at BFI.
And to BFI was 2012. It was number 1. It's number 2 now.
I thought Dave. I thought you were doing an impression of Zod when he was trapped in the little.
That's what I was saying.
And I will say, I think I don't disagree with Scott. I just think it's a great film. I mean, I understand that its primary greatness is in the influence that it later had.
Absolutely.
But I just think, I mean, I love watching it. When I first watched it, I was not watching it because it was the greatest film of all time. I was just watching films on American movie classics years ago, and I've heard of that movie, and I watched it. I was like, I love this movie. And it depends what you're looking for. Obviously, it's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the performances. I think the makeup is amazing.
100%.
There are makeup jobs I see in modern films that don't do as good a job of aging someone as the makeup artist did with Orson Welles in this movie.
Or de-aging.
Yes,
I think he actually looked like old. I think Orson Welles has always looked old. They just did a really good job of covering it up in this movie.
Sorry,
Eric.
I was watching a really good interview with Martin Scorsese where he was talking about some of the influence of this film on his filmmaking. And some of the things you don't even notice. There is so much deep focus in this film. Mm-hmm. They used deep depth of field in so many of the shots, which is hard to do without a ton of lighting. But it has such an impact on the visual look of the movie. You don't even realize it. When he's standing out on the street, when she's coming out with her toothache, you see everything that's behind them, all the way down the street in crisp focus, which is so weird. And yet it has a very interesting
opposite of a Hallmark movie.
Really, it affects how you view the scene. It affects how you feel about the scene, how you feel about the actors. It really is interesting.
And that goes back to that's because he didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know you weren't supposed to do that.
What's focus? I want to focus on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has some great cinematography. That's for sure.
Well, the guy who was the cinematographer is the reason why this movie happened. He couldn't get a cinematographer, and then the cinematographer walked into his office and he said, "You never made a movie. I want to work with you because you aren't poisoned yet by this industry. Let's do something fun."
Well, then the other piece of it was the fact that Wells was given complete carte blanche by RKO, which they immediately regretted. But he was writer, director, producer, star, had final edit approval, had approval over the whole cast, and then it bombed at the box office.
But it did win an Oscar.
And then he made The Magnificent Ambersons, which is one of the most tragic stories in cinema history. Because if you watch that movie naively, which I did, I watched it for the first time not knowing its backstory. You watch it and you're going, what a great movie, what a great movie. And then you get to the end and it's like, what just happened? Because the studio took the movie away from him, massively edited it down, butchering it in the process, completely reshot the ending in a Disney-like fashion, and threw away and burned the original footage.
Dare I mention before Disney was actually a thing?
Yes. And it is just, unlike Citizen Kane, where, well, it's one of the very few movies, Touch of Evil's another one, where Wells managed to sort of make his vision from beginning to end. And it's not, I'm not playing him as a victim here. He was his own worst enemy. The guy had a massive ego. It was his way or the highway. He constantly was over budget. He constantly was over time. You know, I get why he was such a frustrated filmmaker, but it's still tragic because he was brilliant when he was able to do it his way.
100%.
If
One of
only
the
he
other
had
things,
secured
too-
the toy rights. No, go ahead.
I have my sled.
The action figure, yeah, the Rosebud sleds would have gone over big. Now we've only watched 2 movies that are as old as this movie, and all the movies that we watched for the past 4 years. Anybody have any idea what those 2 movies might be?
Gunga
Wizard of
Din.
Oz.
Yep, absolutely, Gunga Din.
Wizard of
And-
We didn't
Oz.
watch The Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Did I
Okay.
pick both of
Never
them?
watched. Yeah,
Oh.
never watched The Wizard of Oz.
Has anyone here
Did I
never
pick both
seen The
of them,
Wizard of
Eric?
Oz?
No,
Okay,
sorry, what was that,
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Dave?
Did I pick both of them?
You said Gunga Din, and the other one was.
Well, we did. I did what? Bringing Up Baby, but that's a little later.
Yep.
It's not Casablanca because Brian kept
It's
saying
another
We haven't
war.
watched
It's another
Casablanca.
war. It's another war-ish movie.
1941. Oh no.
That would be the year.
No, that's the
it's a movie.
second movie that Orson Welles did.
Buck Privates. Buck Privates was 1940.
Oh, the Mensa movie.
Yeah,
Not Private Bucks.
yeah.
I don't remember what year that was.
That was 1941 as well.
Buck Privates. I've
What
never
I
heard
love
that.
about this movie too is the fact that Orson Welles had his whole contract stipulation about the executives could not interfere. He had complete control, and they would send on IMDb. It says they would send spies on set to report what they saw back to the executives, and sometimes the executives would show up, and he would have the entire cast and crew to suddenly start playing softball. They would just stop filming and just start playing a game of softball until they left.
That's
Yes.
really awesome. I like that.
See, like, there's this movie series, this TV show that came out about the making of The Godfather. I want them to do a TV series about the making of this movie.
Well, I wonder. I'd like a movie about the making of this movie.
Yeah. Eric's like, I want the Disaster
Tom
Artist
Hanks.
2, Citizen Kane.
If you get the Criterion Collection edition of this, there are so many extras on it. There's interviews with all of the particulars involved, some vintage ones and some more recent ones, and they go into a ton of detail about it. And
that's
actually,
great.
the one of the there must have been more than one because obviously they burned one. But in 1970, 71, somewhere around there, a custodian at what was left of RKO on a discard pile found a Rosebud sled.
Oh wow!
Tried to sell it, and nobody believed the provenance, so he ended up selling it for $5,000. The guy he sold it to then sold it at auction, and it was sold for $55,000 to Steven Spielberg.
Oh my goodness!
Ah, that's the
Crazy.
sled he has.
Wow.
So it turns out
Yep.
there is a movie about the making of Citizen Kane.
Oh,
I had no idea.
Well, that poster's awful.
1999 RKO 281.
this looks like a John Travolta poster.
Who plays
Citizen
Orson
Kane.
Welles in it?
Citizen Kane.
Let me see. Let me see who we got for the
Battle
cat.
over Citizen Kane.
God,
It's on
Liv
Max.
Schreiber.
Wow, I might watch that.
It's Liv Schreiber.
Oh,
What?
well, Schreiber's a decent actor.
Yes.
Melanie Griffith.
How old is he when he
There you
did this movie?
So there you go.
Wow.
There's a little something to watch.
What's the IMDb rating on it?
Let me look that up.
7 out of 10.
7 out of
That's
10.
not awful.
That would be IMDb, yeah.
Could you imagine Orson Welles as Wolverine's brother? Like, that
It's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Huh.
There you go.
Never heard of it.
Nope,
is-
neither did I.
wow.
I might have to
Mandela
watch
effect.
that.
Different
I'm more
timeline.
interested in that than I am in Citizen Kane. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man, there's 2 kinds of movies: the movies you make and the movie they make about how much your movie sucked.
That's it.
Well, there's that
Well,
TV
of that-
miniseries about
of
the
that
making of
BFI
Godfather.
Mhm.
Let's see. The next one down after Citizen Kane, which is currently number 3, Any idea what the next movie we've watched on the channel is?
Cats.
No.
I know.
Wow.
It's
That's
Psycho,
the
tied
order he
for
was
31.
talking about.
No, did we
Psycho
watch
is tied for
2001:
31.
Space Odyssey?
We haven't watched 2001, have we?
You haven't watched 2001?
No.
I don't think
Dave?
so.
If
Dave.
we did, Adam would still be asleep.
No, we've never, because I've never seen that.
Dave. Oh,
wow.
I've never seen 2000.
that's number 6 on the list.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
man.
haven't watched it on the channel.
Okay. I gotta check.
Oh, The
calendar.
Godfather.
We didn't watch The Godfather.
Nope, we've never watched The Godfather. I do
Okay.
agree with. I
Yeah,
do
you have to pay him more attention, Dan.
Are you sure we haven't watched The Godfather?
I'm sure we haven't watched The Godfather.
I promise you, because again, I have never seen The Godfather, so I know that we've
Really?
I'm just gonna keep picking these movies then.
Oh, wow. All right.
So
Even
this is-
Brian's watched The Godfather.
Movies
Yeah,
Eric hasn't seen. That's the name
I
of the
mean,
show.
the first Godfather is pretty good. I like that one.
The first two are great.
but I've seen the pirate movie 427 times. As Adam points out, the payoff alone doesn't make me strongly dislike this movie. Not to mention it's very boring. This movie was definitely not a movie for me, but to each their own. I agree, the whole Rosebud payoff.
Yeah.
We're talking about an 83-year-old reveal about how the movie ends.
Let's be honest, Eric. There hadn't really been a twist movie by then. This is a student film on the ultimate budget.
Yes. Do we know what the budget was? What was the budget for this film?
Come on, Dan.
Has anybody looked that up?
While
No.
Dan's looking that up, did you guys know what the other story was that Orson Welles wanted to make? I think Dave knows because
He wanted to do Howard Hughes, not William Randolph Hearst. That was a different part of it.
No, it was the actual story. He wanted to do a movie based on a little book about a bunch of men going upriver to find their crazy sergeant called Heart of Darkness, which became what, Eric?
The Saving Private Ryan.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
I've never seen Apocalypse Now.
Which became Buck Privates.
Oh. All right, here's the
All comes
budget.
together.
Want to watch Apocalypse?
I've got the budget. Who wants to guess? Put some numbers
In
out. Let's play a
40s
little
dollars
game.
or today's dollars?
In $1941. I'll convert it for you.
$600,000.
How much, Eric?
$600,000.
600,000, Scott? $1941.
I have.
I'm going to say 125.
I can't
Joe,
vote. I
right?
saw the number.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Brian?
400,000. I have
Amanda?
no idea.
I have no idea. I don't know.
$839,700 was the budget, which in today's
Holy.
dollars is $18 million.
18. So it's that.
It's cheap.
That's interesting.
It's still a low budget movie by today's standards.
By today's
Well,
standard.
part of the reason it was low budget was there were no stars in it.
Right.
It was all the
writer-
Mercury players who were all
Right.
new to the movies, basically, other than, I think, Stuart. Well, no, the guy who played Boss Geddes was not, but almost all of them were new to the movies.
And
Was
writer,
there
director, and
anybody-
lead is the same guy. So you save a little money on the budget right there.
Was there anybody that was considered a breakout star from this movie?
Well, Joseph
Parents.
Cotton probably had the best career out of them, but a lot of these went on to. It almost became a repertory company within RKO. I mean, you had Joseph Cotton and Orson Welles in The Stranger. You have sort of a bunch of movies that had them in. Agnes Moorehead, just in the popular culture, is clearly the best known.
Interesting. Joseph
She was in
ended up-
Dora on Bewitched. So
Yeah.
Joseph
true.
Cotton ended up on the Love Boat in 1981.
Everybody
Cotton
ended
made
up
some
with
great
a low
movies.
budget.
Didn't we all?
I mean, The Third Man. He again with Wells. He and Wells were pretty intricately tied.
So this, of course, was loosely based on William Randolph Hearst, and he, of course, tried to have this shut down. And a lot of people booed this at the every time it got brought up at the Oscars that year.
He was incredibly influential. I mean, basically, Xanadu was San Simeon, which was William Randolph Hearst's never finished giant mansion with its own menagerie, and I mean, it was actually not that far off.
And there's Hearst Castle in California, which we toured many times. We used to drive up to there from LA. And of course, you have to look at some parallels here. I mean, some people look at this and say, that the character could have also been the Orange Blunder, who has Mar-a-Lago as his Xanadu.
There's a little temporal
That's
issue
with
there.
Xanadu? No, sorry.
Yes, Xanadu.
I have a name drop for Xanadu. My mentor in college danced with Gene Kelly in that movie.
Okay, that's 2 degrees. That's not a name drop.
That's not a name drop?
You have to be direct 1 degree.
Wasn't it Olivia Newton-John that danced with Gene Kelly?
She was in that movie. She was in that movie.
I'm so confused. What happened?
She was also in Dirty Dancing.
Oh, she danced with him in the movie.
Yes.
Well, then she's your name drop, not Gene Kelly.
All right.
If you add a degree, it's not a name drop.
I didn't know we had strict rules on this.
It's a lemon drop.
Could I do a double feature of Xanadu and the pirate movie? That would be amazing.
Oh, I thought you should do it. We should have done a double feature of Citizen Kane and Xanadu.
I think it's double feature of Citizen Kane and Xanax.
That's even better. Wow.
So who saw this for the first time?
Oh, that was me. And the last time, too. It turns out this was the last time I ever saw it.
What were your thoughts?
We should have done Citizen Kane and the Kane Mutiny. It should have been our back-to-back.
Oh, that's a great movie. I love that movie.
Haven't heard from Amanda yet. What does she think?
I liked it. I actually thought it was I actually really enjoyed it. It was interesting because I didn't everyone had been talking about, big twist ending. So I was kind of expecting to care about the twist ending. But I felt like, throughout the whole movie, I didn't really care what Rosebud was. Like, that didn't seem like that important, I guess. Like, the interesting thing about the movie was watching, like, this guy's life and him seeming like a really good guy initially. Then you kind of learn more about him and kind of learn about all these intricacies. And I just found it like a really compelling story. And it's like, okay, that's what Rosebud was. That's fine. Like, it wasn't. It didn't seem like
it was too bad that it wasn't a big deal, right?
Well, Wells has said in interviews that, in fact, as early as the early '60s, so about 20 years after it was made, that he never liked the whole Rosebud thing, the framing with that, but they were never able to come up with anything better. Yeah, so Mankiewicz, I guess, he said that because it was 3 of them worked on the screenplay. Really, it was Mankiewicz, Wells, and John Houseman from The Paper Chase, who was co-founder of the Mercury Theater with Wells, and that particular idea came from Mankiewicz, and it was the best they were able to do. So I don't think the movie rests on that gimmick.
No, I don't think it really. I didn't find myself thinking about it that much throughout the movie. I was just fascinated by like this guy's life. I don't know. I just found it like a really well told story.
But it became what the reporter was pursuing that gave them sort of the
it was a good impetus to get them to like follow these leads. But I wasn't ultimately that invested in what that lead led to. I was invested in the stories they found it along the way. It was interesting.
It wasn't like he was dead the whole movie.
I had known, so I was already prepared to be disappointed.
So during the newsreel at the beginning, Margaret turned to me and goes, "Is this narrator going to be here for the whole thing?"
I will say I definitely was nervous at the beginning. Like I very much zoned out. It was like 5 or more minutes of just this like news thing. And once we got past that and near the end of it, I was a bit more into it. But like at the beginning, I was like, "Oh my, is this what this movie is? Is this what this is?" And no, it was good, but yeah.
It was just it was the newsreel entry to it, which it
was just very long.
Yeah, the whole narrative structure of flashback and visiting these various vignettes of this is one person's view of one period of Kane's life. This is a different person's view of another slice of his life, and the way that was put together was really fascinating.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just figured this out, guys. This is the blueprint for every Christopher Nolan mystery ever made. It's non-linear. It has a big twist at the end. It has all these really long conversations about what life is really about, and it has these really cool shots every once in a while.
Like Nolan, practical effects for everything, pretty much.
Yep,
pretty much.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Oh, please, go ahead.
I don't know how much this affected my expectations about Rosebud being not that interesting, but like literally 2 hours before I watched this movie, I was listening to a podcast episode talking about like a Roman emperor from like the 100s or something, and they mentioned that Emperor Titus's last words were famously, "I have made but one mistake," and that has been like a big thing of historians of like, what did he mean? And the podcast host was like, "Yeah, I always like to imagine it was just like some mundane thing, like he forgot to bring wine to a party once, and it was like." So then I watched this movie that opened with these ambiguous last words, and I'm like, it was probably something pretty mundane, wasn't it? Yeah, actually.
There is one movie that's done the whole show the character dead at the beginning of the movie, and I think it's Sunset Boulevard, and I think that's that's what this movie needed to be. I think it was actually, how did this person die? Like, not just what their last words were.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Right. Cruella
That's a fun one to pick. I've been tempted to pick that too. That's. I do know that some people's patience with black and white films is limited, however.
Oh, it's not the black and white.
For some people, it is.
Yeah, I know. Some people, I guess.
I'd watch the Zack Snyder version of this. No, I'm gonna go.
I do wonder if I missed something, because at the end they were talking about like how his life was great and then he died and it was ruined by the time. I don't remember exactly how they worded it, but they kept saying that like it was all he lost it all.
He had everything and he lost everything.
He lost it all. But
yeah,
it
but
seemed like the only thing he lost was like his love, which is like a big deal and all. But like,
and his political ambitions
and his ability to walk.
Political ambition, his friend.
But like, his newspaper was still like thriving, right?
Oh, he had money.
He was never in lack for money, but it was like Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes, when he died, and that's an interesting bit of trivia, is Wells was originally considering making a Howard Hughes-like character for this, which, if you're not familiar, he was, whereas Hearst was not as reclusive. Howard Hughes was very reclusive, and when he died, he was basically holed up in a room. He hadn't left his home in years. His fingernails were like a foot long kind of thing. But Wells rejected telling a Hughes-like story because he felt that his life was too unbelievable and people wouldn't buy it.
I was expecting something more though, because they were kind of building up that he lost it all, and then they kind of like, she left him, he wrecked a room, and then like that was it. Like I was expecting like one more chapter to his life.
He lost both of his wives. His first wife and his son were killed in a car accident. He lost his political ambitions, and ultimately all he has left is his money. He doesn't have any friends left. He doesn't have any. I
expected to see more of that at the end, though. It's more of like not just him wrecking a room in a fit of anger, but then like his depression after that.
Yes,
like,
his
not
descent, his descent before his death. Yes,
not just the in the moment. I'm really mad that she left, but like the like sitting in that despair, I guess, and kind of seeing.
Well, and too, you get the feeling like he wasn't mad that she left because he would miss her. He was mad that she left because he didn't get his way. He is someone who, he's used to dictating terms to people, and when someone goes against him, he just can't handle it.
Well, and that's why I really freaking love the best shot in the movie, which is the mirror shot, because it just
the mirror shot is great.
Yeah,
he's going to be thinking about this, reflecting on this moment every single day until he dies.
I really like the one where they're in the house and they go out to him playing in the snow and stuff. I like that one.
Well, and also when they're in the house, the entire time the window is in the middle of the scene, showing him playing outside. Yeah. The whole time the dialogue is going on between his parents and the banker, you just have this innocent child outside, just as the center of frame. It's really interesting.
That was where I sort of had my like, huh? Like, that whole story of, wait, they discovered a gold mine on their property. Now they have tons of money, but they're sending him away so he can have a wealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
Although they're now super rich.
I do felt like I missed something there. Yeah, that was weird.
No, she's super rich, not they.
Okay.
Super
rich.
I did love that.
Yeah. But also that added just a layer of complexity where like it was just like it was a little hard to follow, and it was a little like, why? Why are you sending your son away?
She sold him away. That's not.
that is a theme in some real stories too. It's just you send. Keep in mind, boarding schools and sending your child away was much more common in those days than it is now. Mm-hmm. And if you could afford to send your child to get a better education and a better life, that's what a lot of people did.
And to give yourself time for cocktail.
But she had his bag packed for a week.
For weeks. Yeah.
He's always saying, like, shut up, dude. Like, why are you, like, in that whole scene, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I can't wait to get rid of you. Yeah.
I also figured out for the first time watching this movie a while ago why tables have the opportunity and the option to extend them and make them longer. It's not so you can fit more people at the table, it's so that you can sit farther away from your wife.
when they have her working on the puzzle in front of the fireplace, he is at the other end of the largest room in existence.
It's huge. Everything.
I thought we'd do a camping outing, a picnic tomorrow. What?
Well, I kept waiting for him to pull out the Paul Masson wine, and he would say, "We drink no wine before it's time." Nobody got that. Sorry.
No, I get it. Yeah, Dave, I remember the commercials, but yeah.
One last thought. When I was a film student, I thought that the one reason why this movie was considered the greatest was because it had every single scene and had every single genre in it. You had a horror jump scare, you had a musical number, you had the noir mystery, you had the romance failure drama, you had the opera scene. It was like, oh, look at all this. This is what making a great movie is about. Everyone should be doing this. Why aren't they doing this? They're idiots.
It's the department store of movies.
That's a great takeaway.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
And this comes to show.
The best movie of all time thing, from what I've been able to determine, came from in 1962. This Sight and Sound survey was the first year that it got voted #1 by the membership. And they do this every 10 years. And it was voted #1 in 62, 72, 82, 92, and 02. So for 50 straight years, it was voted #1. In 2012, Vertigo overtook it, which I much as I love Citizen Kane, I've always thought Vertigo was weirdly overrated, but that's just me. And now it's dropped to #3 in the 2022 survey.
Well, who's #2?
What is the newest movie on that list?
The newest movie on the list, I think, is
on the BFI list.
#1 is from 75.
And from
the #5 is from 2000. It's a Hong Kong movie.
Okay.
Was it Taxi Driver?
No, In the Mood for Love.
Ooh.
That's a good song.
Yeah. The oldest one, there's 2027.
Mulholland Drive.
Singing in the Rain is #10.
Nice.
Wow.
And probably my favorite Western, The Searchers, is #15. So it's a lot of variety.
This wasn't a particularly subtle shot, but one shot that I did really like in the movie was when he went through with the election and he had the big speech, and then they cut to the people with the newspaper pulling up the Kane wins. I'm like, wait, what? And then they're like, oh, no, do the other one.
Yeah, and the other one is my subtitle, Fraud at Polls.
Yeah, so I very much enjoyed this.
That's really funny, too, because wasn't that like something that happened then 8 years later with Truman winning the election, holding up the newspaper that they already printed for his
Dewey defeats Truman. Yes. Well, one of the great shots, and they only get away with this. This is where Wells was so innovative, though. When he's doing that big speech, calling out boss Jim Geddes, there's a brief scene, only about 2 seconds, where they show the whole audience. And you don't notice it. I would never have noticed it unless I read about it. Then I went back and watched it a couple times. That audience shot is a still photo. The reason you don't realize it's a still photo is they punched hundreds of holes in the photo and shown a light behind it that they moved, which gave just enough movement in that photo that it doesn't look like a still photo, which you can only get away with in a short shot. But they did, and that probably cost them nothing, as opposed to having a room full of extras.
The Chaplin trick. Like where he's in the bookstore and he's going to fall over into the ravine. Oh, no!
Sure, there's no ravine.
That's so cool.
Wow.
It's like the cardboard cutouts from Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, you couldn't do that today.
Those were a little more obvious. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, the technology's too good now. You couldn't do that.
Well, remember during the pandemic, all the stadiums that they had, people could buy cardboard cutouts to put in seats.
Had all the South Park characters in the Broncos Stadium. That was amazing.
The pandemic. No, I'm kidding.
Those were the days where the show started.
I'm sure we'll have another one in the next 3 or 4 years. But go on.
Yeah, but this is a movie that they have lost the original negatives for. They're long gone. But they have, because it's so revered, they've done a painstaking. They have 2 really good quality prints that they've used as reference prints. Then they've done a painstaking restoration of it. So actually, still in very good quality for a movie of its age.
Interesting.
There's something to be said that this movie is just, it keeps popping back up over and over again. It's voted by people that really made our industry what it is today. And I wonder what that movie would be if it wasn't that. There has to be something that Vertigo's doing right that people really like about it. I think The Godfather is probably a better movie than this film. I think Brian would think that Casablanca is the #1 movie.
I wouldn't think. No, I just would rather watch Casablanca than Citizen Kane.
Casablanca is a more entertaining film. Casablanca is a film that Casablanca. I think this movie is really mostly about 2 characters. It's currently about Kane, and to a certain degree, it's about Jedediah as his sidekick, even though he's not on film maybe as much as maybe his second wife is. But it's really mostly 1 to 2 people. Casablanca has many more characters that you care about, many more interesting characters, and there's also a bit of a love story. There's really no love story in this. Yes, he gets married twice, but there's no love story here.
There's no love.
So Casablanca, I think, holds up better for a modern audience.
It's also written as a play, and they didn't get any money when they rewrote it and made it into a movie.
And whether you like the ending of this movie or not, Casablanca has one of the best endings in movie history.
I know. See, it's better.
For you, kid.
Rosebud was the name of the plane.
They were dead the whole time. M. Night Shyamalan's Casablanca.
Okay, that'd be pretty good.
Thank you for letting me pick this, guys. I appreciate it.
I lost my train of thought.
Eric, I think I might just be picking away the top AFI, the AFI top 10. There's a lot of movies on there.
Yeah, most of those movies I have not seen. So
all right.
I haven't seen most of them. I'm sure I've seen more than you have, but there's a ton on here I've never seen.
They're really quite good.
And that's just even amongst, and that's a lot of them are foreign language films, and so I'm sort of giving myself a pass on some of those. But
Adam, would you want to do The Godfather sometime? Let us know in the comments since you're not here.
The movie about The Godfather, or the TV series that was on Paramount, was really good. I think that's probably what it was. I watched that, and then I watched The Godfather, and I assumed we watched The Godfather. Because when I see a movie, I assume we all see it together as one big group.
Is that the first time you saw The Godfather?
It's the first time I saw it in its entirety, yeah.
Oh.
I'd watch bits and pieces here and there. I'd never watched the entire movie.
Okay, you can watch the second one. Don't watch the third one. Do you know this?
I agree wholeheartedly.
yes,
Right,
absolutely.
with Andy Garcia playing an Italian guy, yeah.
The Godfather 2 does the very remarkable thing of being as good, and in some people's eyes, even better than the first movie, which is incredibly hard to do.
See,
I shut the third one off, honestly.
You don't.
Dan,
I
go
think
ahead.
Back to the Future 2 is as good as the original Back to the Future. I know a lot of people disagree with me.
The third Godfather movie can be summarized.
I just
in
can't
one
take
sentence.
seeing Leah Thompson and her prosthetics. It just creeps me out.
No, Godfather Part 3 is one sentence. Thank God Sofia Coppola can direct.
Hey, we got lost in translation.
It's true.
The thing is that looking at the top 50 on that list, this is the sad thing is Wells is on there once.
Mm-hmm.
In the top 50, Hitchcock is on there 3 times. Psycho,
Really?
Vertigo, and North by Northwest.
Mm.
And,
And-
the Rear Window's on there too.
The difference is that Hitchcock,
Oh, it's 4 then.
he didn't fight with the studios as much.
No.
He stayed in budget. He was able to make movies that people went to see. So he was able to take his talent and make it last for decades, whereas Wells burned out quick.
And I'll add to that, Dave, Hitchcock not only had a team that he worked with for 20, 30 years, but they put up with him for 20, 30 years.
That's
true.
true.
In the 60s,
including his wife.
Yeah, it was in the 60s when the studio said, okay, we're trying to build people. You're not working with this guy and this guy and this guy. You know, we then walk after this guy who probably has some sort of
if you look at Wells's filmography, it is an absolute mess because he did so many movies that he just appears in. And the only reason he did them was to raise enough money to try to finance another project of his.
Brian?
And he did that over and over.
Do you know what Orson Welles' last movie is? His last appearance?
I don't.
He appears as a Transformer villain in the Transformers movie.
Does he?
Yep. He's the voice of the devil in the Transformers movie.
I read an article came up
Unicron.
on my phone just a couple days ago talking about how incredibly disappointed the author was that Transformers 1 bombed at the box office.
It is so good.
He said it's so good, and he blames Michael Bay. And Michael Bay has so tainted this franchise that even when they make a good movie, nobody will go see it.
And the way it uses color, the way it tells a solid story about how two people, it just proves to me that the entire prequel trilogy of Star Wars should have been one movie. It's just so good. Sorry.
Wow.
Okay.
Rant.
We got back to Star Wars, and everything comes back to Star Wars.
You so like your rant.
Oh my.
One day I will do my Phantom edit.
All right, final comments on Citizen Kane? Anybody?
I had something and then I lost it. I was like, I lost my train of thought.
Everything, and now you're just like.
Oh, that's what it was. That's actually what it was. Thank you. You reminded me. He didn't have everything, and that's what like people read it that way. Like he had everything and he lost it all, but like that's why he was like, oh, Rosebud, because he lost everything back then with the sled and the house. You know,
there are multiple interpretations of that. You know, there's some saying it's longing for lost innocence. That's what Scorsese says about it, for example.
I mean, there we go. I agree with him.
Brian, you should actually watch The Aviator, which is based on probably his Citizen Kane. It's about Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
I like he like the dad, right? This was my second time watching this. That's because I
felt so bad for the dad.
Yeah, the dad, right? Like he's like, and she's just like, no, this is what we're doing. Shut up. And I was like, oh. Even back then.
You like movies, Brian? Watch this. Watch it.
Oh no, we're gonna do Clockwork Orange next.
I've never seen that either. Okay, let's move on to recommendations. All right.
Sorry.
Ryan's giving me vertigo.
I had to get my glasses. I dropped them. I was like twirling them. You couldn't see me though.
It's a jump scare. My God.
Yeah, just we don't have object persistence. Where'd everybody go?
Eric, did you have a question for us?
I was going to ask if anybody had anything they'd like to recommend.
Oh,
what a simple question.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, that'd be pretty good. All right,
That's
I'm going to
not
get
real.
mine out of the way because
Good.
I know at least some of you are going to be like, no, I didn't like that. But that's okay. I'm recommending it anyways. I've been doing a rewatch of Elementary, the old CBS series that was on in the mid 2000s. And the first 3 seasons are streaming on Prime. And I'm having a great time watching it. I really enjoy all Sherlock Holmes oriented. I don't think the only one I hate is the Will Ferrell Sherlock. Absolutely trash, unwatchable. But I enjoy most interpretations of Sherlock Holmes. It's wildly different, of course, than the Sherlock series that was from the BBC. It's very different than the Robert Downey Jr. version of the movies, but it's well done, and it sort of got me, an appreciation for Lucy Liu. I like it.
I was watching, I can't remember something in the last couple of weeks, and we were just sort of flipping through commercials and had something caught my eye, and we went back and watched. There is an upcoming TV series called Watson. Which network is it supposed to be on? CBS, premiering on January 26th.
Oh, nice.
It's about Dr. Watson in the modern day, set in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Cool.
Well, I will certainly be watching that. That I do enjoy, and Elementary went on for like 9 seasons. There's a lot of Elementary, but the first 3 are on Prime. So
it was hit or miss, but when it was good, it was very good. It has the same problem a lot of American series have compared to the British series that sort of corresponds to it, which is if you compare this to Sherlock has 12 episodes total or something like that. I don't remember how many.
Over the course of like 4 years, too.
Yes. Yeah. And so the quality overall is so much better because there's some awful episodes of Elementary and some great episodes of Elementary.
Elementary, I don't like how they handled Moriarty. I don't.
Oh man, the Moriarty thing is just weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, they're doing 22 plus episodes per season. Yeah. So obviously everyone is not a gem. But I enjoy.
And I think this is one of the reasons some streaming series are better is because they don't have that pressure to be exactly 42 or 48 or whatever minutes, 22 episodes every year.
No,
we were watching,
and I think if they were to remake this, if they were making this now, it would obviously be a wildly different series. But I do think that Johnny Lee Miller is an excellent Sherlock Holmes. Like I think his portrayal is great. And I do. It gets a little CSI and a little predictable, and so, but it is that kind of series where you're like, oh, there's a murder. Oh, we're going to solve this. Oh, Sherlock's going to notice things that nobody else noticed. It does become a little formulaic at times. But it is a fun, just a fun watch, not a serious on in the background kind of watch. So I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it when we watched it on first run.
So I have a recommendation. Guys, we all know what's happening next week. We're all going to start doing our double feature Christmas movies and specials. There is a huge range of amazing things to watch, and I thought that I would recommend to you guys something that I've taken to watch every year just so I can feel a bit of the Christmas spirit that makes me want to believe.
For Life Day?
No. It makes me believe in the beauty of the real world and how amazing it is.
Rural New Orleans?
No. Oh. This is an animated Christmas movie. It stars Mark Hamill, Paige O'Hara, Nancy Cartwright, Jodie Benson, Clint Howard, a whole bunch of other people, really strong, powerful voice actors. It's a 2002 movie that has a 1.3 on IMDb, 22% favored by Google users, and I do not think that there is a Rotten Tomatoes page on it.
Wow.
Because it can only be seen on YouTube after its one-time broadcast on Cartoon Network. It is called Rap City Street Kids Believe in Santa.
Wow.
How'd they get Clint Howard?
Right? Yeah. And it stars the Black Power Ranger as the main character. Walter Mango Jones. It is all about, we think, a little boy who wants to give his crush a teddy bear for Christmas, and then it gets lost, and they have to go find it and then give it back to her. Ooh. And this is a musical, by the way. My favorite fun fact about this movie, the audio that they used for the grandma character got completely corrupted and scrambled. So they actually thought it sounded like her stuttering, like she had some sort of aging thing happening. So they kept it in the movie. Look at this, guys.
Oh, what animation. Wow.
The beauty of the real world. Again, this will have you want to believe in it. And the guy who made this movie, it says on the Wikipedia, died of a heart attack at an unspecified age in 2019.
Wow. An unspecified age.
A lot of cocaine will do that to you.
Yeah, the guy who produced this apparently completely trusted the animators, sent them $500,000, and the first time they saw this thing get finished, the first time they saw the finished project was when it got broadcast.
Oh, come on.
Again, it is free on YouTube. 42 minutes.
Pay me to watch
it is available.
Oh my! This was broadcast on Cartoon Network.
On Cartoon Network.
That's amazing! Wow.
This looks like one of those fake AI Seinfeld episodes.
Yeah, this is impressive. That is impressive. It's like it's.
All right,
Roblox the movie.
Were you there for the airing of it?
No, and thank God I wasn't, because I probably would not want to do movies.
It's only 40 minutes. It's only 40 minutes.
Oh, I will say, Eric, on the BFI top 250 list, The Apartment comes in at number 54.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
And that's a movie I know you really enjoyed.
I did enjoy the movie quite a lot, actually.
This movie is worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special. At least you can laugh out cheesy and over the top and how of the time it really is. This thing has no period. This could have been made in the 80s at the same year as Tron, and Tron still looks better than this.
Well, Tron didn't look awful. Tron just looked very
exactly
computer generated. But it was, so that's not surprising.
Have we watched Tron?
No, we have not watched Tron.
Tron, no, I didn't think we did. It's okay.
Nor have we played discs of Tron on the show.
That's true.
My old comedy club in Los Angeles, the Comedy District, was in Culver City, and the exterior shot of the arcade in Tron is the same building.
Nice.
It's now a
Jeff
restaurant.
Bridges.
Small world. All right, that's my name drop. Okay, here's what I did last night. I can't believe I started again. I started my semi-annual watching of Fringe.
All right.
Once again, I was like, I just want to watch it, and I got hooked again. I got hooked on episode 1, and I was like, yep, I'm back. I'm going to watch the whole series again. It's on Freevee, which is about to go away, so there are commercials. But
yeah,
it is free.
Okay.
Freevee's only going away because it's going to be Amazon with commercials.
Yes. Amazon simplifying their offerings.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I have two
What did
things.
you watch, Brian? Quickly.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been watching 2 things, and we're only supposed to use one. Vikings. That's what I was watching.
Okay.
What is that?
Yeah.
If I had a voice, I would sing.
Like it came out on History Channel or something, and I was like, I hate the History Channel. I'm never watching this. No! When they started putting documentaries about like
alien autopsies and
like, are you serious? I was so mad. So I just quit the History Channel for like years and years and years. But then I was like, I want to watch this anyway. It's not very. I mean, they like mix and mash time periods and whatever. But it's still fun.
I love this show. It is a really well-made show.
It's really good. Like,
this isn't on my radar at all.
I would say this much. It's better than The Northman. The Northman is shot better and has some really amazing, memorable moments for a 2-hour movie. But the character development in this is great, and it's based off the legend of a Viking named Ragnar Lothbrok.
And 6 seasons on Netflix.
He did have a brother, as far as I know, and the brother in the movie is a completely different person in history who came at a different time than Ragnar Lothbrok. But,
if you genuinely want to know how the Vikings probably lived 80% of the time, it's a good show to watch.
If you definitely want to know how the Vikings probably lived, there's an 80% chance. Let's dissect that sentence. How many asterisks did you put on that?
Hey, I'm 90% sure that I'm 100% right most of the time.
That's right. 80% of the time, it works all the time.
I haven't made it through it yet, but I'm enjoying it. It's decent. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't like Vikings. I mean,
because you look like one.
I'm Swedish, so thank you.
You need horned headphones.
I should get some.
That would be amazing.
Even though
the Vikings had horns on their headphones.
I know that's a myth.
They didn't have horns on their helmets, but it's okay.
The Minnesota Vikings do.
Yeah, they do.
And the North have Vikings.
But the real ones didn't have horns. I mean, they drank out of them.
They were
sometimes.
horny, baby. Oh yeah.
They were.
Oh gosh.
So why they had the 2 horns in their helmets for? Oh no.
Exactly right.
You can't pillage.
You guys pause at the worst moments.
I know.
All right. Anybody have any other recommendations that they would?
I can
will say
recommend
if
my
you-
other show.
Since
Amanda,
you
do
like
you have a recommendation?
Since you like Sherlock Holmes-ish shows and movies, Eric,
I do.
it's certainly not Sherlock-ish exactly, but it is a procedural and it is very well made. It's currently on hiatus between they do these half seasons now, so the second half is starting in January, February. Is Elsbeth, which is I think CBS. It's sort of a spin-off of The Good Fight, which ended a few years ago. She was apparently a minor character on that, and they've spun her off into her own series. She's basically a lawyer, but for convoluted reasons, she gets embedded with the police department, and she ends up, helping them solve all kinds of cases. But it's the character's quirky, and it sort of works. It's pretty well done.
What's the name again?
Elsbeth.
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 Huh.
Yeah, because the Good Life wasn't the Good Wife originally?
It was The Good Wife, and then it became The Good Fight.
The Good Fight. Because she was like the wife of somebody.
She was the wife of a politician who was found to have been dallying, I believe, and she was the quote-unquote good wife who stood by his side. But then the series moved on quite a bit from that pretty early. That's her.
Quirky. She does look quite quirky.
But we enjoyed it. We've watched the episodes that have aired so far, and we've quite enjoyed them.
Nice.
Interesting.
The characters are interesting, not just her. The other more minor characters are very interesting as well.
Jane Grzynkowski is in this.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
I think just in one episode. But
yes. 11. What?
Well, the guest stars have been many. It's almost Columbo-like in that they have all these guest stars.
What's going on? That's too much.
I have another garbage recommendation that I can make if you guys want. It's actually
I like the idea of a garbage recommendation. This is supposed to be things we enjoy, Scott, not things that we would suffer through.
I enjoy garbage sometimes, okay?
Sometimes I do as well, so...
Yeah, Brian and I are part of a certain group that are too scared sometimes to make our own stuff, so we have to be like, well, if we could have been these people.
Right. At least I'm not these people.
Reputation, the bad reputation, right?
Yeah. But he gets it.
I mean, if you really want garbage, no, I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my, yes. That's if the Blue Lagoon had a smaller budget.
You should play the trailer. This is my all-time hated movie. It's called Rubber. I think I've mentioned it many, many times.
Not
but
to be
like,
confused with Flubber.
It's really bad. It's about a tire. Like, yeah,
I love that movie.
It's about fashion?
You love it? I hate it. Oh my goodness.
You guys know this one? It's a horror slasher movie where the killer is a tire that comes to life.
It's so
hilarious. And the first 2 minutes is basically one of the characters ranting at the camera like, why is Citizen Kane about a sled? I think that's one of the lines in the...
I don't remember when it came out, but it was a good year.
Be right. Yes. I hated it, though. Oh my goodness.
This is so good.
All right, what's your garbage?
In a bad way, I guess.
Okay.
Garbage.
Okay, it's not total garbage.
It's total garbage.
So this movie has a $90 million budget.
Nice.
It was made in 2010. It stars Nathan Lane, John Turturro.
Wait, what was that name?
John Turturro.
Thank you, John Turturro.
Could be Turturro. It could be, you don't know.
John Turturro is the villain. And it's made by Andrei Konchalovsky. Thank you. He made Runaway Train, Tango and Cash, Paradise, Dear Comrades. Made a bunch of really amazing independent movies. He's received the Cannes Film Festival Award. And basically, he always wanted to make a Christmas movie. And he did this film that was an international co-production between the United Kingdom, Russia, and Hungary. And it's one of the reasons why this thing has so much freaking money. This movie has a 0% of Rotten Tomatoes, not because it was terribly shot or terribly edited, but because it makes the worst choice you could ever make with a Nutcracker movie. Guys, what is the one thing that's missing from the Nutcracker?
Nuts.
Full frontal.
You're close. Guys, don't you want to see a musical movie where instead of fighting rats,
Nazis.
Thank you. They are fighting Nazis. And
I
there's
guess
this horrible Holocaust allegory where the Nazis are burning toys and they're dancing and singing to it. It is one of the most horrifying, tasteless things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm so glad I didn't make it.
And what's it called?
The Nutcracker, The Untold Story, because it should not have been told in the first place.
Wow.
I love that thing you just said. I'm so glad I didn't make it. I love that. I get that. I do.
Yeah.
Scott, don't worry. You'll make your Nutcracker Nazi movie sooner or later.
Damn.
Let's not.
Let's not.
Oh, the funniest part, guys, is that the Nazis all dance to jazz music. Do I need to tell you why that's wrong?
So we should do a double feature with the producers, is what you're saying.
Oh, totally.
So we can do Springtime for Hitler and then this.
Exactly.
Double
Eric, did you find the IMDb?
Oh yes, we should probably talk about next week.
Next week's double feature.
Anybody has a recommendation? Does anybody have a recommendation they haven't given yet?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've said it like 3 or 4 times.
All right,
the Continuum is amazing. Watch it.
You keep continuing with the Continuum.
I'm going to because I haven't finished it yet.
Instead of Fringe.
Nice.
It's so good. I can't believe how good it is. I just love it.
I'm also concerned about how quickly Dave said Nazis is what was missing from the Nutcracker.
Oh, you were setting up the villain. I'm thinking, well, who's the most stereotype lazy villain you could possibly come up with? Nazis.
The movie produced by Hungary. What would we have as the villain?
I do want to say, did anybody think when there's near the end of Citizen Kane, when they're showing the massive piles of boxes and everything, that had to have influenced Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Also, I did bring this up too in our messages, but the ending shot, which is a thing with the letter R burning, like that's literally the last shot of Rebecca, which was the Hitchcock movie that came out the year before. And that
it's also a framed movie in that the beginning they focus in on coming up to the estate and then going through the gate and up to the house, and at the end they pull back and they're going away from the estate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think Xanadu's Disneyland.
What?
Yeah, that's right. I had to.
Hollywood.
I guess.
No.
Walt Disney is definitely Gene Kelly. You're absolutely right. It's the reason why no cast members were allowed to wear roller skates.
Next week begins our December marathon of double features.
Yay!
Holiday extravaganza. And we will be starting off with movies from Dave and Amanda, The Holdovers, and all of the other reindeer.
Oh my
God. I didn't get until I just said it out loud.
Yeah.
The animation is only slightly better than the one you showed.
All of the other reindeer.
I did not get that.
Barrymore as a dog.
I did not get that until I just said it out loud.
You do get Drew Barrymore as a dog, yes.
Woo! I am excited.
It's a musical, if that helps or hurts.
It's short. It's short.
It's also for only 45 minutes, and it's free on YouTube.
Now, some mystery person signed up for a movie the week after. I have no idea who did that.
Oh my god!
I have to look at the stuff. I haven't put anything in yet.
Yeah, that's weird. There's no name on it.
No, this is brought to us by the people who made Coraline because it looks like they have buttons for eyes.
It is kind of that. It's based on a picture book that has that art style.
Thank you.
I'll be honest, even though I mocked it, the art style is not what's bad about it.
No.
I don't know.
Well, as long as that's
movie, but it's a fun, dumb movie.
The art style can't match up with Rhapsody Kids Believe in Santa Claus.
Rhapsody Kids. And the city is spelled Sittie.
I noticed that.
Is this a pun on Rhapsody?
Yes.
So it's like Rhapsody in blue?
Uh-huh. Rhapsody Street Kids.
Wow.
I'm just a poor movie. Nobody likes me.
Somebody anonymous today at 1:18 p.m. Put in The Man Who Invented Christmas on Prime.
Yeah, which has Christopher Plummer in it. I'll give it that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't know who would have entered that. Maybe it was somebody we know.
Well,
is
this open to anybody?
Well, I would think whoever it is has to fess up by next week, or it'll get
only if you have the
replaced.
link. Only if you have the link.
Right.
So we'll figure it out. So
guess.
The Holdovers is available for rent on Amazon Prime or for rent in all the normal places. I don't think it's streaming for free anywhere right now. Doesn't look like it.
It is a little long at 2:13, but Amanda's helps make up for it.
You're welcome.
And then I'll do it on YouTube and also free. Amanda really is saving your butt on this one. The free short movie.
One's rated R, one's rated G.
Eric's like, I'm going to be more entertained by the pun of this movie title than
I'm excited about the pun. That's fantastic.
Well, it does strike you as the kind of book or movie that they thought of the pun long before they had an idea to make a movie or book out of it.
Oh, 100%. The plot's
100%.
weird. The plot's very weird. But the pun's good.
That is pretty good. So if you haven't signed up for a movie, Brian,
I know. I really got to.
And all this time, I thought
we'll open up the other weeks for people who can sign up for a second one, and we'll give you another opportunity. So Brian and Scott need to choose a holiday movie.
Oh,
So I have seen all of the other.
All right.
I've seen both movies.
Yeah, I've not seen.
Has anyone here seen The Holdovers?
No,
I did.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. They look.
All right.
You gotta get the- you gotta
And
get the
I
one
know
eye.
that Stacy did because she mentioned it in an earlier
You
show.
gotta get the one eye just right.
I have a
Oh, you
question.
froze, Dan.
That's great. I love that.
Wait,
Your
what?
mom warned you might freeze that way, Dan.
Wow.
John Michaels.
You should have
Hey,
laughed
Vern,
at
it's a
him.
holiday movie.
I should have got the screen capture while it was up. Missed
Man,
that
wow.
opportunity.
Did you have the
Did you
cross
see that,
eye?
Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
bad. It was bad all the way around.
That
Wow.
was like the front of a Three Stooges episode.
I'm doing it, and like nobody's responding. I'm like, I can't tell if you can see it or not. I'm like, do I have the eye crossed? And then all I got was little circles going. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess my internet went
There
out.
was something happening there.
I think you broke your camera.
I think
Yeah,
we just,
I
I've
had
never
rebelled.
cameras before.
we just figured out what your poster is for your next special. But
We
Dan,
did
you know
go
where you can watch
see
the current
Craig
special?
Ferguson in concert. Craig Ferguson was playing Pittsburgh last week, and we went to see him. Hadn't seen him in quite a few years because we always enjoy
Nice.
his comedy show.
By the way, speaking of comedy shows, if you're interested,
Oh boy, here we go.
right on danrosenberg.com. We're at
Plug away,
26,000
plug away.
26,400 views and growing.
Nice.
I have a quick question. This kind of spoils for my choice, but have we seen Claws yet?
Yes.
Claus.
Klaus.
Yeah, the cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it!
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there.
It was
I
good.
want to pick a good movie because I just pitched two shitty ones.
We appreciate it. You'll figure something out.
Hey, Adam likes something.
Just good because he's not going to like all of the other reindeer. So
Probably not.
no.
I give this 3 reindeers. It is equal to
We were rating
1.54
it,
cats.
it's not gonna go.
You give this 3 dogs pretending to be reindeer.
And a partridge. Okay.
Wow.
Oh
And on
my
that note,
gosh.
Oh no.
It really, you got Jim Varney nailed there.
yeah, so
I just kick Stan. He looks like Shawn Michaels.
we'll get some merch going for that.
Oh my god.
All right, we will be back.
Da-da-da-da-da.
We will be back as always next Monday night for December Mayhem Holiday Madness. And yeah, and Adam does say that Holdovers is an excellent movie.
There, I will say ahead of time, there's a slight chance I will not be able to be on, or I'll be on an airplane. I have to figure out the time zone difference. I think I will land Atlanta right as we start, so I might do it from an Uber or a rental car.
Okay.
Look at your
You
schedule.
can get the opinion of the driver.
There you go. All right, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful week. And we'll see you back here next Monday. Bye.